What's up, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of the Two Anchors podcast. I'm Jamie Breen.
I'm David Holston Thorne.
We are very excited to come to you from Scituate, Mass. on this Friday night, and we are very excited to be coming back for
our third episode.
Yep, and thank you to all of our viewers, especially David's great aunt,
Sissy/Della.
Thank you for your wonderful, kind message on Facebook. We always like to see our viewers interacting with us. And if you're listening, thank you for your support. And thank you for your comments. And thank you for reaching out in general. I know that you and your family are enjoying what we are bringing to the table here. Last week we talked about disability culture in Hollywood and how it's portrayed on the big screen through movies and television. And we mentioned 3 shows. What were they, Dave?
They were Game of Thrones,
Stranger Things, and The Good Doctor, right?
Yes.
And oftentimes after the show ends, I think about things we could have talked about more or things that we could have done better. But last week I thought about 3 shows that I didn't think about during the time that we were on the air. One was Breaking Bad. The main character's son has CP, and what's cool about that is the actor who plays Finn, or Walt Jr., for those of you who actually have seen the show, he actually has cerebral palsy, so it makes it real. And for me, watching that, seeing an actor that actually has CP, it was pretty cool for me. And
me as well.
The second show that I was thinking about for an honorable mention would be Speechless. I have to say that I'm not really a big fan of that show. I've only seen a few episodes, but the mother was very overprotective, and I thought it was very dramatic and kind of sort of unrealistic and sort of forced in the scope of the show.
It's more of a comedy-based show.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen more of it than me?
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it. What did you think?
I mean, I think it's good because, not, even though I don't believe the actor is really that way, it just shows a different spectrum of cerebral palsy, because I know from, past times going back to school, I've had friends with disabilities that also can't talk, but they are still very successful in what they do. And it's just yes, it's funny, but more of a comedy, but I do believe it's good because it still shows no matter what challenge you have, if it's, the lack of ability of speaking, he's still getting out in the community, he's still, making a difference in going to school and interacting with friends. And then, what was the third one, Jamie?
I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a really good kind of sort of dark comedy. It's a Netflix original movie called The Fundamentals of Caring, featuring Paul Rudd as the lead actor.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I have not seen that.
Okay, so just really quickly, because I know we want to get into
our next topic,
into the meat of the show, because we're just recapping right now. But just really quickly, the show is about this young man who is completely reliant on a power wheelchair and completely reliant on anybody and everybody to take care of him. And the mother is very overbearing and she doesn't really allow him to do much. He pretty much has the same routine all the time and doesn't really experience uh, what the typical person experiences every day due to his mother's worrying. And Paul Rudd experiences a family tragedy with his younger daughter, and she passes away at a younger age. And he comes in and he doesn't really know anything about being a PCA or taking care of anyone, but he does realize that he would want his younger daughter to experience things. And when he meets this young man, he's like, I wanted my daughter to have these experiences, and I don't think anybody, regardless of their ability, should be excluded or miss out on things. So he was like, what is on your bucket list? What do you want to do that you have never been able to do before? So basically, he takes him across the country on a road trip, and helped him experience things that he wouldn't otherwise be able to do on his own. So that, yeah, basically that's the outline of the show or the movie, whatever you want to call it. But I just wanted to mention those 3 shows again: Speechless, which is a comedy, like Dave said, and Fundamentals of Caring, featuring Paul Rudd and Selena Gomez as a supporting actress, and then Breaking Bad, which is actually the first show that I've seen with a disabled actor, then following Game of Thrones shortly after that. But again, this was only a recap of the last episode, so if you want more of this topic, please refer back to episode 2, which you can find on my YouTube channel and Dave's Facebook. But moving forward, we want to talk about a totally different subject topic. As we talked about last week, the major impact of Hollywood and movies and kind of the far-reaching ability of people, we kind of want to bring it back closer to home and talk about community. So I think Dave's chomping at the bit here to talk about something.
Before we get into the meat of this topic, we're gonna talk more about personal experiences, and I'm gonna focus personally on my family and friends, but unless you as the viewers inform us, I am not going to use names of people that I know. So I just wanted to let you guys know that.
Yeah, unless we get prior approval before the show, we will change the names of the people we're talking about for your protection.
Unless you want us to use your names, but please let us know.
Yeah. So like I said, it's nice to talk about how the pop culture and social society views disability culture, but we want to make it more real for our viewers because we know the majority of you are local people, at least for now, and it would be more real. We know everybody watches TV, we know everybody's on the internet, we know everybody watches movies, but we want to make it more real. And we wanted to hit close to home so that it actually, you can say, oh yeah, we know exactly what you're talking about because it's right outside your doorstep, because we're not big time people, we're local kids trying to make a difference. And sometimes the biggest difference is right in your local community, right at home, not in a big spotlight situation like
movies,
like the big A-list social scene. So this is going to be like a very personal account of disability culture and a very first-hand experience about what we go through on a daily basis.
And how we deal and cope and overcome our daily challenges.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know what it's like to be in a wheelchair and to have CP on a daily basis, number 3, episode 3, right now, is the episode you want to tune in to. So we're very excited because it's very personal for us. This episode is very personal, and you know, it takes a lot of courage to do what we're about to do. So we appreciate everybody who takes the time to listen to us because, you know, it's very personal and very real and very honest. Thank you for respecting what we're about to talk about. Thank you for your time, and I hope you can appreciate it. So, you know, I know that Dave has a lot of things he wants to say. You know, he was talking to me about this stuff before the show, and he's very excited to share his experiences with you. So I'm going to let him start off the conversation.
Alright, so the first big date that was very challenging for me, but I know made me a stronger and better person was May 15th, the year before my freshman year of high school. So that would be 2001, 2002, I believe. I had left hip replacement surgery that put me in a body cast for that entire summer, flat on my back. And once I had this extensive surgery, I had, you know, family taking care of me on a daily basis, friends from my middle school calling the house. My one of my actual classes, I believe it was my history class at the time, they took time out of history class and came and talked to me for, you know, a half an hour. So it was great to realize that so many people, you know, cared about me outside of my family. And after realizing during the surgery that my family would not be able to lift me in and out of vehicles anymore, I had to get a wheelchair van, and they are very expensive, and my family could not pay for it on their own. So family, friends, and people within the town, they organized some fundraisers and raised enough money for me to get this wheelchair van, which I was very appreciative and I obviously, you know, I couldn't repay every single person that I wanted to for doing this for me. So I felt like I had to pay it forward, which is also a very good movie and probably my favorite movie so far in my lifetime. So I ended up, and I still do occasionally, I help out within the Magical Moon Foundation, run by a well-known artist in Marshfield, and it has to deal with kids with cancer and giving them
other terminal illnesses.
Yes, thank you for correcting me, Jamie.
Mm-hmm. I also have some experience with that,
and it just through my tough time of my surgery and recovery time, I believe if I didn't have to deal with this challenge or difficult time in my life, I would have never helped out with this organization.